Bagseed Chronicles is a podcast about cannabis and the people who enjoy it.
Not to be confused with seahorse sex.
No, it's different.
But
Hey, welcome back to the Bagseed Chronicles. This is Uncle Dig. And we have a great show for you today, let me tell you. We have a garden update, and more importantly, a nice interview with Oklahoma's premier cannabis podcast, the Smokin Okies. Brandon and Evan come on, and also become one of the lost interviews. So that is interesting. Stay tuned, and enjoy. Uncle Dig's garden update. Hey, it is 12/9/2021. We are in gardening zone 8B. And hey, what's with the gardening zones? Come on, USDA. You haven't updated them since 2012. We've had burns and like little microclimates changing. Let's update this stuff. Anyway, this is Uncle Dig with your garden update. Anyway, I had surgery, so I can't really lift anything. So I'm lucky that it's winter. I don't do much outdoor gardening this time of year. I had hoped to get my indoor garden started this month, and it has been necessarily delayed. Not just due to my little health issues, but it might not start until February because I have little chicks, and they live in my garage, and I don't want to grow cannabis in a chicken house. So I'm going to wait a little bit. Once I'm able to integrate these little chicks into my flock, I will begin the deep clean of my garage, followed by some germination. I hope to do a quick autoflower run in my garage before the first spring heat hits. But I guess I can move the plants outside to finish if it gets too hot in my garage. That might be a fun experiment. Anyway, that's it for our very short garden update. Remember, the best bag seeds are the ones that are shared amongst friends. If you enjoyed this episode of the Bagseed Chronicles, please share it around.
All right. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back to season 2 of the Bagseed Chronicles. Here we have Evan and Brandon from the Smokin Okies, Oklahoma's premier cannabis podcast. How you doing today, gentlemen?
Great, man. Thanks for asking. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
I'm doing great too. I can't wait to get into this because I've been waiting to smoke my next joint until we started.
Oh, hell yeah. What you smoking on today?
Oh, dude, I'm smoking on a joint of Durban Poison.
Oh,
But it's this this company out here called Tribe Cannabis. They generally make concentrates, but they've been releasing full bud pre-rolls. And this was a $60 1 gram package of 28 1 gram an ounce, so 28 1 gram pre-rolls for $60, and they're
nice.
fucking hitting like fire, dude.
I love Durban Poison. It was one of the sativas that made me appreciate sativas because I have some anxiety. So if you get me on like some green crack or some really racy sativas, I generally am not going to have a good time. I'm like, all right, cool. Where's the Afghan? This is too much. But Durban Poison gets me right up to the edge of that and lets me hang out. So I really appreciate that strain.
Oh, dude, it's one of the sativas that I like. Evan got me turned on to it because he likes it a lot, and he'll pick it up every time he sees it. And then, of course, I get to try it. So, yeah, it hits me good. And you guys were talking about bud size and stuff earlier. You said before we were recording, you said you had a plant that, or there was a plant you saw that even the small buds on the bottom were like AB buds, man.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Tribe's doing something like that with these full bud pre-rolls because they're better than they should be.
Oh yeah.
Y'all, your market's been going on for what, like
3 years?
3 years? Okay, so I'm not talking out of school here. I'm not saying that no one's growing good weed. Everyone's growing fire. But as an outdoor guy, it can take you a while to figure out your new location. So I feel like a lot of people from out west and from all over like other parts of the country and like people local are still learning how to grow weed in Oklahoma. So around
Sure, yeah.
so like
That makes sense.
I'm not saying that the weed's bad, but your market hits a certain maturity where all of a sudden you've got a critical mass of growers that know how to deal with certain pest explosions that just happen, certain weather that y'all talk about that just happens, and they start picking strains based on that, and they just get better and better. And I think around year 5, at least this is what happened to me around year 5, growing outdoor, you start to almost know enough to get yourself into trouble. I mean, it can really be a crapshoot outdoors. Now,
What if you're a bitch like me that only smokes indoor?
well, Evan, I mean, we haven't gotten you the right outdoor, or you have some psychosomatic snobbery. I don't know what to tell you. Well,
Maybe if you don't tell me that it's outdoor, it won't make me cough. That's
all outdoor make you cough?
I mean, I don't know that. It's just typically when I'm smoking outdoor, that's what makes me go and die.
Huh. I think that some people just cough when they smoke weed, Evan. Speaking of smoking weed, what are you smoking on?
I'm not smoking shit, buddy. I got about 3 of these 50 milligrams Nature's Key gummies that we get down here in me, and I'm feeling real good.
Good.
That is one of those staple, like the Nature's Keys are the ones that'll get me going too. Like I was telling you earlier, edibles are very hit and miss for me, but Nature's Keys have been very consistent.
Well, maybe that's the one I'll try to buy when I come out to Oklahoma again, whenever that is.
I'm on down. They're great. You can get 50 of, or sorry, not 50 of them. You can get 30 of these things for $50. It's amazing.
That's not bad. I'm trying to buy a sack in Oklahoma just because it'll make me feel like a real brave boy. Because I've only been there. I've only been there once since y'all legalized. So like I haven't really gotten to participate in the culture there. I went there once, but I told y'all I couldn't get my card in time. It was kind of an impromptu trip. I had the money and the time at the same time, and I'm like, well, I gotta go, and I didn't have 100 days on the lead to like get the medical card. But I think one of the aspects of planning my next Midwest trip is to make sure I have that Oklahoma medical card.
Yeah.
Might I recommend getting some jacked up bars, some Nature's Keys,
Zen gummy,
some Zens.
Oh, I'm gonna have to buy some Zen gummies after like old Smoke's been over here has been talking about them at every show.
I've not had one of those in like 5 days actually, but I've just been broke.
It happens to the best of us. Now, Evan, I understand that are you still growing at home with your wife?
Yeah, we had a rough couple months here at the Wade household that resulted in the poor plant not receiving the care it could have. And just with work and all this shit going on, and it's okay. It's still doing okay, but it's gotten pretty big at this point, and we're going to have to kind of figure out what we're going to do with it. It's just kind of sitting in a closet right now, like the child of our neglect, and it makes me very sad to think about.
Well, I mean, so are you worried about it being too big to flip into flower now?
I'm thinking it might be too big to fit in the tent, so we might just have to keep growing the bitch inside until the season flips and then put it outside.
You want to? Oh, okay. Well, so course of action number 2 presents some challenges because now you're going to be in Mendo Dope territory because you're going to have a 6-foot girl in a pot outside. So if you put it in a small pot, like anything less than 30 gallons, when it's that size, it's going to like finish not as well because it's not going to be able to get a big root ball like it's going to want to. If you're going to do full season outdoor. And the other thing is, if you put a 5-6 foot plant outside in May, like you're talking about doing, it'll be 12, 13, 14 feet tall.
That would
sounds
almost
amazing
be worth it for the novelty. But somebody, in the shitty ass city I live in, that's a guarantee somebody's gonna come.
That's rippers. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah,
So
you're gonna have to camp under the thing with a shotgun. Like,
I'm kind of surprised that, like, I was just talking to my wife the other day. Like, I leave the lawnmower that I actually Blake helped me out with and the weed whacker out. Sometimes I forget, and I am stunned that it's not gone missing because, like, yeah. Anyway, a weed plant would make it.
I have been extremely lucky that no one's grabbed a plant from me. But also mine only peek over the fence for like 2 weeks max, like during peak flower. But like
the other problem, there's one more problem. Being in Oklahoma, if you put that out there, Evan, you're going to be gifting your neighbor's weed because those winds are going to blow some limbs off.
The tumbleweeds.
They're going to get some tumbleweeds from you.
So I would suggest maybe that how tall is it right now?
In the pot, it comes up to about my chin. So
damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you neglected it in the perfect way. Like, it's still alive and tall, so it's doing decent.
Cool. Yeah, we're
Could
following
you train it
a little bit, and then shit happened, and
No, so, I mean, can you train it now? Could you spiral it out to fill, the width of the tent rather? You know what I'm saying?
Potentially, that's actually the width is kind of the concern because she's very big and bushy.
Oh,
what we need to do is just get her going. I feel bad.
Take cuts.
Ooh, and then like put the clones in the tent.
Honestly, well, here's what I'm saying. Okay, so now all of a sudden you have this problem. How do you get it shorter? Right. Well, take a bunch of clones and like set up, like, I don't know how many lights you have, but you could set up a clone dome under like a fluorescent light in your kitchen for a little while, and then your gromies, if you've got like friends, I don't know if this is legal. This is just something that you can do in Oregon. This is a solution to a problem.
Sure.
You basically top it. You hack the hell out of it, and you take the good cuttings and you propagate them, and then you either put those in another tent for yourself or give those to your friends who are on the medical program.
We had talked about making clones because I got a little bit of experience doing that. That's a very good idea. That's basically where you cut it off and you stick it in that little spongy thing. Right. Yeah.
And I did it once to prove to myself that I can do it. And I went super low tech. I went a clone dome with vents and those little like sponges, like you said. And I propagated one clone. And so all you really need is a spray bottle, a small light, maybe a heat mat. I use an old bird cage that I've covered in emergency blankets, so the heat from the light gets reflected into the center of it in a really cool way. Super clean, by the way. No, it's not. It's grody, but it's my favorite way to do it. But yeah, you could propagate all those, and that way you'd hack it down, right? It would shock for a minute, then it would bush out again. Then you would flip it into flower and theoretically defoliate one more time. And then you'd be back in business with that plant, and you'd have those cuttings. So if it's a plant that you're like, oh, this pheno is great, well, now it's running around in your friend group. You can get it back.
That's a cool idea. And I think I probably will do that because I've already isolated just from my limited weed growing experience now, some places that, you could probably snip off clones pretty easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. I knew that this conversation was coming, so I went into my closet to like steel myself for it because I didn't want to get upset about the plant that I wasted. So I was prepared for this.
But honestly, okay, so let's say you didn't want to keep more than one little clone, or you didn't really want to clone. You could just, like I said, top the ever loving hell out of it, like cut a bit off of it, and then let it veg just a little bit more, and then flower it if you wanted a short plant. It's not ideal, right? It's not. But it's better than having your tops grow into your light, which has happened to me, and that's super sad feels.
Yeah, I don't want to. Especially if it was something that we grew from a seed, it would be one thing. Like, but it was a gift to us, and it wasn't like I feel bad not taking as good care of it as I should have. That shit happens.
Yeah. Though sometimes those plants that have a little extra stress or a little extra drama, they give you like an extra like little bit in the finished product, as long as they are allowed to recover, I think. Like,
yeah, I'm good with that.
So yeah. Now, so the outdoor full term I know is has pretty much done. here in Oregon, and I think it's done there as well. Are you seeing anything interesting hitting the stores or exciting deals or stuff that you haven't seen before in your market?
Blake,
Sort of. I've stumbled upon some. Like I kind of go out lackadaisically just looking for weed, just because I like to have new stuff for the podcast and things like that. We'll take it from listeners as well. That's how we found Windwalker, which is my favorite of the Oklahoma weeds. But there was one, what was it called? It was by Koala Farm. Oh, it's called Starship. It was an organic grow. But I found it at a dispensary. They've got like a $5 gram section. And this one, like usually they'll sell popcorn buds or something there. This one, man, like they were full buds. They smelled amazing. It was fresh. I don't know if it was promotional with a new grower or what, but I stumbled on that, picked up like a half ounce of it, and I was in fucking heaven for a while, man.
Honestly, when I do go to Oklahoma, that's something that I'm going to buy on purpose, because I want to taste what's on offer across like the whole market, right? I don't just want to smoke top shelf. I want to get a bag of Duff. I want to get a bag of just stuff that like what people are going to look at me and they're going to know that I do a weed podcast. Going to look at me like, why did you buy that? What is wrong with you? And then I'm going to sit there, I'm going to roll it up, and I'm going to choke on it, and they're going to look at me even weirder. But it's important to understand, like you gotta get the people smoke, like mids. You gotta smoke what like the bums on the street are smoking. You gotta to get a really good feel of like what the legal market has to offer, in my opinion.
So you're basically gonna go from like Floyd to me and Blake.
Yes, that is the plan.
Not to, we shouldn't dog Floyd too much when we're not even on our show and he's not here. But some of the bags that dude brings, he can definitely help you find the cheap weed.
Yeah, he sure can. He can sniff out his cheap bag for sure.
There's something I hate spending like more than a ridiculously small amount of money on weed, because I got spoiled. I got spoiled when I was working for medical growers off and on in my free time, back in the mid teens, and they would just give me like weed. It was no big deal. So so now for me to like spend what a good ounce is worth, it's like, but I could get this off the hill. Why am I going to buy this here? You know what I mean? So, and so like, it's one of those things where depending on like what situation you are, it's kind of all relative. Cause I can also remember, when I'd scrape pieces. So like your perspective can change depending on what environment you find yourself.
Yeah.
I think Blake is sorry, Blake, go ahead.
You find yourself wealthy in cannabis, and therefore you've lost touch with the little people. Yes, the resin out of their pieces, or like Floyd breaking bongs just to scrape stuff out.
Oh my god. Okay, if he wants to get the disgusting stuff out of his bong and not break it, he can soak it in alcohol and do his own little extraction and get some really ratchet, really gross RSO. But theoretically, he could do that.
Maybe the most accurate and true use of the term ratchet I've ever heard.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's going to hurt him. It's not going to feel good. Well, but
luckily, Floyd doesn't have to do that anymore now that he's in a legal state. That was what he was doing, back in the dark ages.
Oh, man. See, that breaks my heart.
I've scraped it out of the spoon pipe too, and I think that's probably why I have coughing troubles now. I think I gave myself COPD. Nah, I'm kidding.
Well, I still do some probably stuff that you wouldn't see like some of the people that are in the scene with me do. Like I still go through the stuff I call my tray scrapings. So everything that like falls out of the joint while I'm rolling it, or that I tap out of the grinder when I change, strains or whatever, just ends up in this pile of stems and nonsense and cat hair in my grinder and on my tray in about a week. And then I every Friday I pick through that stuff and make joints out of it. And sometimes they're really good, but sometimes they're not.
That's like basically the trim pre-rolls you get in Oklahoma. That's the large scale version of that. Of your
those are
trims.
Those are a gamble. It's like buying dollar scratchers.
Yeah, but when you get a good one, because it's a bunch of different things, because I've usually got anywhere from 3 to like 8 strains on rotation, it can be a real mind twister.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at the end of my pre-roll here, and I'm fucking high now, man. They're better than they have any right to be.
Well, I've been watching you on Instagram. Like, you've been skateboarding a little bit.
Oh yeah, man. That's how I found this this brand, this company, was because they have these little packs of eighths. It's 11 little pre-roll joints. It's an eighth split into 11. And I would get those. I'd take those and smoke those before skateboarding. So that's how I found Tribe. But yeah, I've been skating again lately. I've basically been living my teenage dream, man. I've been skateboarding, smoking weed whenever the fuck I want to. And I just realized that I live in a city now, and there are skate parks all over the place. Like the shit I wanted as a kid living in the middle of bumfuck Indiana, Some
pretty good ones too, right?
Yeah, they're fucking great, man. And so I'm just started living the dream, and it's good exercise. I hate running. I never learned to like it in the Marine Corps. I still fucking hate it. So
you need scenery.
I'm getting my cardio in with skateboarding, man.
I would love to be able to do that, but I've got some back issues that would make that really stupid on my part to get on a skateboard at this point.
You gotta, well, luckily, since I did it as a kid, I've got the muscle memories coming back faster or whatever. But like, as far as taking falls and stuff, because I have back issues as well. But if you know how to fall, it's not a big issue, because it's more of a slide than a fall. Slams are what hurt you, and that's when you have no speed. So the trick is to skate fast, even though it's scarier. It's safer. So.
Oh no, yeah. I grew up in Houston, and we had a few drainage ditches, but we didn't have any concrete parks. And when we had like one in downtown, and there was one like in this other town, but that was it. And you had to pay to get in. And then when I came out to the West Coast, like there'll be like I live in like a tiny town of like 5,000 people, and we have a concrete skate park. How does that even make sense? Doesn't it make sense? Oh, and by the way, if you drive 10 miles down the road, the bigger town that only has like 250,000 people in its whole metro area, they have 2 skate parks. And then, oh, by the way, the next little town that like hardly anyone lives in, they've got a concrete skate park too.
Let's talk little towns, Dig. You know the town Blake and I grew up in had like 5,000 people at census.
Well, they don't do concrete skate parks out in the hinterlands, do they?
No, we had like corrugated metal put over the top of the tennis court.
Well, now I'm gonna have to go look. I want to see what the
hometown
population was.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna look at.
I'm from a town in Texas, and it was 10,000 growing up.
Wow.
It wasn't 5,000. Yeah, go ahead, Blake. Sorry.
The 2020 population of our hometown was 791 people.
Oh boy, so that is a little town.
Yeah. Bumfuck nowhere. We did, however, convince them to build us a skate park. Yep. Granted, it was shitty. They built it on top of an old tennis court that wasn't ever being.
We had one of those.
But it was one of those clay tennis courts, so ramps ended up sinking.
No, at least ours was concrete.
Yeah, and they were fucking made of like they just made them out of steel plates. So immediately.
Ours was by the time they got there. Do they have a concrete park now?
I don't know. That place got flooded out.
I think they have a concrete park now. We shouldn't turn this into a skateboarding contest. Or podcast, Comcast, what?
Well, Uncle Dig opened that can of worms.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to go down memory lane, so we're doing it.
I have no idea, man, if they have a park or not.
It looks like they've got a park with some concrete implements or something. I don't know. There's not a lot of info about our hometown anywhere on the internet at all.
Well, it's tiny, and its biggest thing is a rock.
Like
it's
Blake
just for a rock.
I saw, but when you go to the skate park, sometimes you'll be like, "Hey, man, if any of the Smokin Okies out there, come smoke with you." Has anyone taken you up on that?
I've only done it a couple times, and usually when I ask people to, they don't, because I like to go when no one's there.
Oh yeah, that's how I would do it too.
So it doesn't work, but rolling up at the skate park during peak times, I have met people that have heard of us and have smoked with them and skated with them, and
That's
it's really
cool.
fun. It's really fun.
That's happened to my buddy Lucas out in Tacoma from our radio show that we do up there. I haven't run.
I don't know you. I just shouted him out. I'm high.
You're good. Lucas Barfield. He's a cannabis educator, and he runs a radio show out of Radio Tacoma up in Washington State, and I co-host it sometimes.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it's called the Cannabis Corner.
Okay,
nice.
But yeah, it's just it's really fun. But he got so excited the other day. Someone sent him a free bong, so he's just on cloud nine.
Oh yeah, the free shit's the best.
Yeah, I would have to put myself out there a little bit more. I don't want to do that.
Oh, dude, we're blatant about it, and it works. We act like it's a joke, but it's really not a joke at all because they keep sending us shit.
Yeah, we just got the Luca.
Yeah,
the Luca Seahorse X, not to be confused with Seahorse Sex.
No, it's different.
But that's a little handheld vaporizer, right, for your concentrates?
Yeah, man, and it you can plug a cartridge onto it as well, but then
really?
It's also
I didn't even know that.
You can put a cart, so it's a battery for a cart. It's also got a dab straw if you like using honey straw method or whatever, or it's got the chambers where you put it in there and you can use it with a bubbler or whatever with concentrates. It's fucking cool, man. It's got like 6 different modes or something.
See, when I do concentrates, like I don't really always go for BHO, like a lot of times, and if I do, I'll throw it on the top of a bowl in like the bong, or I'll make a wax snake. But a lot of times I'm really lucky to know some older folks who have been in the game for a while, and they sometimes make bubble hash. And sometimes every once in a while someone will gift me a little chunk of what looks like really good dry sift. That stuff is so fun to like make into like a snake and put into a joint. Like, so you put it in the center of a wider joint, and then you roll it up and you light it, and you're smoking this like string of hash and weed. It's like thick smoke, but it gets you like higher than anything else, man.
Oh man, I never even thought to roll it up, like, because I've had bubble hash and I usually just sprinkle it throughout the joint, and then
you can do that too. Yeah.
I didn't even know you could just roll it in a snake.
Sorry, I
try that.
That's dry sift. It's not bubble. I'm confused. I went to dry sift, and then like some of the press hash. You can do that with. You can make a snake out of like of BHO too, but I've only known a couple people that can do it without completely like getting it stuck to their hands and messing up the joint. I'm not one of them. Yeah. But like like Afghan like press hash that's like sifted and then it pressed with a little bit of heat. That stuff, you break it off and then you can roll it into like a snake, almost like breaking a piece off of like a hash temple ball.
Yeah. That's what I've seen with the dry. I've watched people make temple balls. One day I just went down the YouTube hole of watching people make temple balls out of dry sift.
I'm so excited to get some hash screens.
There was like a lady doing it in her apartment, like she did the screens and everything, but then she just like wraps a book in wax paper to go further, and then all this like further sift, and then she's like got like super like hot water in a bottle, and that's how she's doing the press and the everything, and ends up with a beautiful temple ball. It was amazing.
Oh, cool. Now I understand that, Evan, since we last spoke on the podcast, I understand that you got a job in the cannabis processing space. Didn't you? Could you tell the Bagseed Chronicles fan about that a little bit?
Yeah, the Bagseed Chronicles is going to get some. Sorry, Blake, would you like to?
I was just gonna say I'm gonna light up and enjoy this tale.
Let's get down to a dig. I look forward to answering this question because I can't talk about this shit on my show because it's all posy. So I'm gonna come take a dump on your show.
Oh, okay. Shit. All right.
All right.
Yeah, come talk shit, I guess. What?
I won't. I'm not going to specifically name any brands or people, but let me tell you a story.
Okay.
All right. So I'm what you might call a tryhard. When I get a job, I don't care what it is. If you got me picking up sticks, if you got me trimming weed, if you got me moving boxes around a fucking warehouse, my goal is to be the best person there at it at all times, right? Like that's how I motivate myself. So within like my first day trimming with these people, I trimmed a pound of weed my first day, right?
Oh, good job, man.
I sat up, I studied, and then I started. I didn't have another 10-hour day where I did not have 2 pounds, right?
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So like I sit and I focus and I do my job and I figure out ways. Like I was doing it two-handed and people were doing it two-handed because they learned how to do it for me and shit. And like, cool, whatever. Like not trying to pat myself on the back. That's just how I do shit. So I'm with this crew and we're going from job to job. And every time they're like, damn, dude, you're killing it, blah, blah, blah. Then we get to this one place and it seems like a pretty legit facility. It's like an actual business instead of some dude's yard. Like it's not in a trailer.
Oh, I hate those.
Like, yeah. Everything is super cool at first. They say, yeah, you can just come work on the days you're not working your other job and stuff. However, they do a system that's like communism where everybody works on the assembly line and everybody gets the same cut, right? So one day,
wait, they pool, like instead of getting paid per pound individually, you get paid per pound, like divided among the overall haul.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh, I don't like that.
Yeah,
so,
like pulling tips with an even split at the end.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Same idea. So that day, even though, and I don't know what I did because they're doing that stupid fucking assembly line, but like always, I sat there and I busted my ass. I didn't take smoke breaks. And I just boom, 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 boom. And fucking at the end of it, they're like, okay, we're paying everybody for 1.2 pounds.
Whew.
Yeah. And I got to thinking about it and I was like, dude, I worked 10 hours today. You know, that's $12 an hour. I can make more doing something else. And I wasn't shitty about it. Like I still want this job for the side. I politely texted my boss who was talking about how awesome I'd been doing and said, hey dude, is there any way that I can just trim my shit separately? Fired in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the weed industry.
Maybe okay. Wow. Okay. So that sucks.
Yeah. I'm pretty fucking mad about it, but it's whatever.
It doesn't make sense the more I
so
think about it.
So Evan, they're paying trimmers hourly out here now.
Yes.
So like that money is gonna go away soon anyway. That per pound money, give it another couple of years, it's gone. They don't have to pay all that much. They won't. You're gonna be making like $15 to $20 an hour, which isn't bad money, but it's not good enough to trim weed.
No, you can trim weed and actually make good money. And I'm with Blake. It doesn't make sense. And the best I can think of is that the people I was working for, like there were some other red flags. But what it comes down to is the weed industry, and I'm sure it's the same way in Oregon, is full of unprofessional fucking people who have fallen into their shit because they came up from the black market. They don't know how to run an actual fucking business and they can't stand people. And this is me. Like I'm not a confrontational person unless you give me a reason to be. There was nothing in the content of my message. And it was just one message. That's all it took. Like it just blows my mind.
I saw the screenshot. It was just like it came. It was out of nowhere.
I think that's a modern employer thing, man. Like I don't know. So I haven't worked in the recreational market here. It seems very corporate in a way that I'm not attracted to. I'm most of what I'm interested in the is the activism and the home growing, and to a more larger extent, some medical co-op growing, which is not on a scale like we're talking like 48 plants, not even 100. We're talking 12 plants or 18 plants. I like working on those smaller farms with the big giant plants that people are growing, for themselves and a few other people, and maybe throwing like 3 pounds to the dispensary at the end of the year and only making like a little bit. They're just, it's like a hobby grow on steroids.
This was, in some ways it was like that. They had an app that you could go in and schedule your shit. You had to wear a uniform. You had to buy a specific pair of shoes that you could only wear there for fear shit. Like they,
oh Jesus Christ!
And it was cool. Like I can get with a place that has standards, right? Totally.
Yeah.
But then And this is where it gets kind of interesting. At one point, two dudes who were brothers, white dudes, were play fighting, and one of them jokingly yelled the N-word at the other one. That dude didn't get fired.
Yeah, that sounds like Oklahoma though, bro. You asked more money from your employer. You're getting into that southern like approach to like your boss. I don't know. It's weird. Like
that would only. Sorry to interject, but that would only make sense if the employer's payout were to change.
Right.
Because
you know what? You got a point. That's right.
They're paying for the same amount of weed trimmed, but they're just paying equal parts to everybody. So they're not getting.
So they might have been hustling them. They might have been hustling them because that's how you like. If I was a grower and I was trying to pay everyone less, if you pool the thing and then they can't tell exactly, where it's going or what it's. Who's weighing it at what time, it's harder to track because you don't have your pile. You know what about 2 pounds looks like. So if they tell you only did a pound, you're like, well, that's bullshit.
Right. I could pick up my bag and
tell
you within
a
pound.
So my guess would be because you did that, they decided that if they tried to fuck you, you wouldn't be easy to fuck.
That's what my wife said too. Yeah.
That makes sense.
They're not gonna, if somebody will stand up about that, like, because it was only $100, but like on the other hand, like I was thinking, not to give you the whole story, but I'm giving people rides. Like this is a commitment on my part, and I'm not gonna come there and work 10 hours and be late getting my kids home from school and shit, and only get paid $100, like $120. Fuck that.
Sounds like you dodged a bullet, really.
I mean, it sucks because I thought it was a good thing.
Well, and honestly, man, like you can make that. I mean, okay. I don't know if this is true, but I understand that out here, they sometimes pay day farm laborers $15 an hour. And so you could go pick zucchinis in a field in Oregon and probably make the same amount. So that's kind of fucked up.
It is. And it's like, I don't want to talk shit, but like, this is a company that's coming up in Oklahoma. And I saw some other shit there too. I'm wondering how much I should say. Let me stop at saying I saw and heard definitive proof that they were running black market shit out of there too. So there were a lot of things.
So here's what I'll say in my experience, and I'm not casting aspersions on anyone, but that's pretty common.
Right.
And I learned like pretty quickly, what questions to ask and what was okay to say and what wasn't, but also like that was also for everyone who was working on the farm's protection too. So it kind of goes both ways because here's the thing. If I hear no evil, see no evil, and I keep my eye on my bag or my eye on the trellis net, and like I don't pay attention to what's going on around me, and I just focus on the crop, and they keep having me back. I'm not going to say shit. I'm not going to do shit.
Right.
But there's also this understanding, like, because like some of these people came from the black market, like you said, and are very unprofessional, like you said, and all that. But some of them came from the black market, and that's where it stops. So they're still hyper professional. They're still really good, down to earth people. They're going to give you your bag, but you cannot get butthurt when you find out that someone who's been working in the black market for 20 years is sending pounds out the back door. I'm sorry. But see, here's the other shit's not cool. I hate that in our industry right now, in the cannabis industry, there's the rising tide of weird, like, in there. Go.
Oh shit! Forgot I got.
All right, audience. I have some horrible, bad news. We had a wonderful second part of the interview with the Smokin Okies the last time. Good. It was beautiful. There was a little bit of like subtle conflict that was resolved at the end. There was emotional release for everyone involved. It was the highest art that podcasting can aspire to.
And had you recorded it, we would be famous right now.
Well, no, I recorded it and then dumped it because I didn't process the other file.
The thing is, on that last episode, that was whenever I finally got around to explaining how to get a free $1,000 check every week from this guy I know, but I'm too tired to explain it again. So sorry.
Yeah, it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
So here we are.
I think we solved fusion as well, didn't we?
Yeah, cold fusion. Yeah. Energy solved.
Man.
So here we are, attempt 2. And we'll get right back down to the sample questions that I had for you as soon as I can figure out how my computer works. All right. So,
sorry.
Go ahead. What's up?
I remember from our last conversation, the thing cut off right whenever I kind of sounded like a chode. So I just want to make clear on something. I'm totally straight with the black market. I just don't like those people that we mentioned last time for other shit. And I use that as a point to say, yeah, I don't give a fuck about the black market. And
I listened to it and I edit it. And I don't think the impression is given that you are anything other than angry about the status of your personal bag, which is completely understandable. They were doing things one way and then they switched it up on you. And you said, we're like, hey man, why'd you switch it up? They were like, fuck you. And so that wasn't cool. It just baseline wasn't cool. And you're right to feel bad. I was just making the point to the audience. And this is something I want to make clear. I'm not necessarily some like illegalist anarchist where I think everyone should just be running around committing crimes. As far as you know.
I can't respect you anymore then, because that's what I am.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, like, if you're going to break the law, and anyway, the point about like illegal growers is if you're going to enforce the law against them, right? Well, how are we going to do that? We're going to violently lock them up. We're going to take away all their property. When maybe this offense should maybe just be a fine or a ticket. It definitely shouldn't be violently enforced. It definitely shouldn't be enforced by taking away someone's freedom. And so from that practical aspect, when someone kicks a pound out the back door, especially if they're a legal processor, I don't get upset because guess what? In their ideal circumstances, a lot of times when an illegal operator is doing that, that means the black market has safer weed sometimes. So that's a lot of times it's even doing an accidental, like, what do we call harm reduction just by the fact that more clean weed is out on the black market than there was before.
That's a really interesting thought. And I just want to note that. Thank you for sharing that thought.
I'm way too high this time to follow the conversation. No, I mean, I followed along, but since we're all talking about our opinion of the black market, I'm saying, fuck you, black market. No, I'm joking. My ideal world, as I've stated on our podcast, would be where everybody of a certain age has access to consume and grow their own cannabis. You know, that's the ideal I see. Regulation only being there to keep people safe.
Well, and that's my big problem with the black market as it stands right now, is that they don't submit to testing. And there are some gardening practices out there that are very scary, that are more apt to happen on the black market. I just recently PGR weed, perfect example.
That weird.
So here's the problem with PGR weed. Like, you can get similar results safely using like bat guano and like other like certain inputs, but these people are spraying like synthetic chemicals that are not designed for human consumption and definitely not combustion into the lungs. Consuming this stuff can cause very dangerous, sometimes life-threatening medical effects.
Excuse me. That was a Howard Stern thing. Sorry.
I was going to say, now I'm going to play the part of the listener that's too stoned to follow along. PGRs, is that the stuff like the little red buds? Those things, those really dense, the weird, like it just looks off, but they're red. They're all reddish.
Well, the way I would describe it, it has like an unnatural bulk to it.
Yeah, it looks unnatural. It's like it's like in Good Burger versus Mondo Burger.
Yes, it's definitely the Mondo burger of weed. It almost looks like, even the way I can best describe it is a lot of times it looks like it has too many pistils. Although I've grown some weed that just has a lot of pistils that like breaks off in the bag and it's really reddish.
but that's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking about.
No,
It's
I've
like,
seen red weed, but this is like
Like-
it's unnaturally red.
it's like
Like
bulky,
we've all seen red hairs,
and
you know.
and it has a weight to it that doesn't seem realistic. Like it's so
uncanny valley weed, man.
yeah, and the other thing that people say to look out for is weed that doesn't have much of an odor. I don't know how much of this I'm going to run into in my market. You know, I buy legal weed, and then other medical growers gift me weed sometimes. So it's all, you know, cultivated safely. So I don't run into it. I haven't seen any, but I've heard about it online, and I've read that it's becoming a problem in like certain gray and black markets, and in markets where they don't test. And it's just horrifying because it
That could
makes it
fuck
really
you up.
unsafe to consume. Yeah.
That's, you know, off the top of my head, the closest to like the whole laced poisoned weed that I could think of would be something like that. You hear rumors here on the stupid fucking Reddit. There was somebody, you know, anytime anybody gets weed of a certain density that looks a certain way now, it's like, is it PGR? But apparently some dispo out here is selling weed that looks pretty PGR-y, and people are real sketched out about it. And it just, yeah. Ugh.
No, you have to forward me that. I don't know which one you're talking about.
I actually forget now, but I'm gonna look it up as we go.
Well,
And I'm
and
not
I'm
gonna
not-
mention them on the air.
I don't know what the way to test for that would be, but I hope
Yeah.
that as it becomes a problem in certain cultivation circles, I hope that they can develop some way to test for that, because it really does, it really can make the plant dangerous in a way that it really hasn't or wasn't before.
Yes.
Oh fuck! I'm looking
PGR
for
is
it.
bad. Stop fucking with the, you know, you don't need it is Mondo Burger. It's the story of Mondo Burger. Really. Fucking with with chemicals just to get a bigger yield.
If you
Come
want
on.
big yields, you know,
Grow it
go
right.
get some back guano. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
So-
honestly,
okay.
oh, go ahead. You got something for us, Evan?
No, I went into my research mode and then just opened my idiot fucking mouth when the host of the show was talking, so I'm shutting it again.
Oh, you're fine. I wanted to ask Brandon though, switching topics to safe grow practices. How's
Yeah.
your garden prep going? I know you
Oh,
have
man.
some plans.
I've got plans, but I haven't been able to execute anything yet because I haven't bought the place. So I'm still renting, and I don't really want to invest any money into the place until I know I'm buying it, you know. So really all I have is plans. Just there's a plot out there that I know I'm going to try to grow in. So
Yeah, and you'll want to be able to own the place when you're growing there, and not for the reasons that people think. It doesn't really like the smell doesn't really stay around. You can do it in a non-destructive, non-life-changing way. The one thing that you're probably going to have to do that's going to like modify the way you can use your house is you're probably going to have to like install some heavy-duty wire in the garage, and you're going to have to probably install some sort of temperature control or figure that out. And there's probably going to be some ducting involved that may be unsightly.
oh no
inside.
I'm talking about outdoor.
Yeah, but you're still
Um,
going to have to bring it in and dry it. So you're still
Oh
gonna
yeah,
need,
you're true
you're going to
Didn't
need
think of
hanging
that.
wires or something. Some people
Yeah.
use coat hangers on like a secondhand store, like clothing racks that they've bought.
Nah, man, I'm just gonna do it in my bedroom.
Perfect.
I'm just
Just
gonna
screw the
sleep with
wires
it.
right in the wall with a screw.
Gonna hang above my bed.
Oh, and you've got a dog. I've got some opinions about that, sir.
Well, I mean, my dog's not gonna get any of it.
No, I know. I just mean like the general fun.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not being serious, but my high mind was thinking like, how cool would it be if somebody engineered like a hanging tent that was secure? And it was like, oh man, just,
like if they
just
would
for
make a hanging
drying,
chair.
you know?
I think they
just
do.
for drying, so it could be clear and you can just look at it and
There
smell it.
was I saw one on a YouTube actually. Someone had reworked a grow tent. It looked like and hung a circular rack in there that was perfect for like 12-inch cuts
Yeah.
of bud. And I can't
Mhm.
remember what it was called, and it's probably good because I shouldn't give people free plugs.
Mhm.
But there is a product out there. I just don't know what it is. I just saw it on some weed video I was watching.
And the loose plan for indoor grow would be just no dogs allowed in the lung room, man.
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I was like 2 steps behind. You're talking about the quality of the weed, not the dog's safety.
Okay. Honestly,
Yeah, it's
like
you
I
know,
am.
they have shit in their fur and they have
Yeah, I
fur
don't-
and yeah, it's
They pinch your weed
It's-
and they smoke it.
no, it's the environment
I
for
have
the
known
plant.
a lot of old hippies who had dogs that like to like chew on weed stalks and stuff and like would get into the weed, but like not to eat it, but like to like roll around in it, just like they like to roll around in stuff that smells
Yeah, for the
neat.
smell.
Yeah. So
Not
and that's just
consuming, but just
yeah.
yeah.
But even like I think where you get into trouble with dogs is when they consume cannabis that's been decarboxylated.
It doesn't have to be decarbed. I did
Really?
I did a lot of research on this one night, and we have an episode about it because my dog ingested an edible. And
I remember that
yeah,
was going
and,
on. I was listening
it
to that while I
does-
was trimming.
that's why the thing is it doesn't have to be decarb for dogs.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and it's hazy now, but they feel it. Basically, weed hits them way the fuck harder than it does us.
Well,
They
that's the
have,
impression that I've always
yeah.
gotten.
and you know, it's just you can't explain to them what the fuck's going on. You know, that sort
Don't
of shit.
give
They don't
weed to your
understand it.
dogs.
And
It really
but
fucks them up.
the worst part, man, is the way their liver will like the THC will bind to the bile in their liver. So the next time they eat, they get high again. And this
Oh,
can
fuck.
happen for like 3 days. So yes, be very careful with edibles around dogs and weed in general. But edibles for sure, because it's a higher dose.
Okay, cool. Yeah, don't give weed to your dog. Don't. Whenever I say I've seen people do this, I'm not saying it's a good idea. I want to stress that to the audience. I've seen people do a lot of questionable things with cannabis, around cannabis, on cannabis even. And when I
Yeah.
say on cannabis, I literally mean on up above a cannabis plant, trellising and like doing questionable things. But when I say I've seen something, that doesn't mean I'm condoning it. I'm just saying
Yeah,
this is a
yeah.
behavior that I've observed.
Uh-huh. Yes, I've seen people do stuff too, you know. I mean, every stoner has,
But
especially growing up.
yeah, like you want to talk about people being mean
Mm.
to animals. You talk about growing up in the rural areas. People do mean things to
Oh, well,
animals
I
all the
don't
time.
want to talk about people being mean to animals. I like animals.
I do.
I remember
Oh,
the
next
first,
question.
The first, we'll talk about an animal being mean to a plant. The first clone I ever bought, I didn't know about cats and weed. How some of them just love it, just love to like smell and rub on it and tear it apart and play with it.
Yeah.
And so I had this little clone sitting up on my little work desk. And at the time, the cats could come into my office at the time. And I left the door open and I walked away and I come back and every leaf off of this clone is on my floor. And my cat is asleep in the pile and there's one leaf left on this clone. And that was my first plant I ever harvested. So it made it through, but don't leave your cats alone with your plants because they'll chew on it like cat grass. My plant, it doesn't seem to do the same thing when it's in veg. It seems to be like, as far as safety, it doesn't seem to be unsafe, but it's bad for the health of your plants and you don't want your cats to get used to being able to eat your weed.
Yeah. Plus rubbing up against it, you know, with their fur and all that.
Oh yeah.
Kind of the same thing with the dogs earlier.
Oh yeah. I don't really let too many animals in with my in my cannabis garden. I let my chickens go through it before I plant.
I'm
and
still
then,
thinking indoor where
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
controlling the environment, you know.
Oh yeah.
I forget you're mostly outdoor. That's I keep
Well,
like
yeah.
Evan earlier. I forgot this
Ew.
wasn't my podcast.
No, you're fine. You're
Uh.
fine. I should let my guests talk a little more than I do sometimes.
I'm
So-
not talking because I'm tired, not because you guys aren't letting me in.
Oh, you're fine.
I'll just fucking talk if I want to talk. God damn it.
I'm talking a lot because I had
Yes.
4 bars of the jacked up bar, man.
Ooh.
I'm riding. Yeah.
I split
know-
a 1 gram joint with my partner here. We rolled up a gram of
of Hawaiian, and then there was like probably like a quarter gram left of like this Grateful Breath in there, and so that ended up in the joint too, and it was really nice. And then I came on here, and I was actually early to our meeting, so I was really proud of myself.
I think I was late. I was the last one in, at least.
Only by a minute or two.
I was
already-
waiting on a joke to come after that or something.
Nothing, just deadpan.
Yeah, man.
Just dead air. You bastards.
Another day, man. I'm just not quick enough on the
Well,
uptake.
Evan's falling out.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm here.
And Brandon's feeling like some weird anxiety about taking over, and I'm not willing to comfort him. I'm just letting him stew in it like some asshole.
Yeah, well, I'll stew in it. I'll stew all day.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have you on. It's been the audience's big loss that they lost the original interview and are left with this train wreck.
Yeah, we could have intergalactic travel, if only.
Yeah.
Oh, if only. No, this was
Thank you,
perfect.
technical difficulties.
Hey, thank you guys for coming back on and helping me finish this strong.
Hey, thanks for having us. It's
Yeah,
an
man.
honor to be on the show to open your season. Thank you, man.
Oh, yeah. Now, where can the audience find you if this piques their interest and they want to come find you and look at your stuff and listen to you guys?
All right, here it comes. Smokin Okies Pod is our Instagram. Smokin Okies Pod is our Facebook. SmokinOkiesPod.com is our website. Go to those three. You can find most of our stuff, including our episodes and some pictures and some other shit.
All right, gentlemen, that's the Smokin Okies. Let's overgrow the world. The bumper music on this podcast was performed by Chadwick DeVilliers on ukulele. You can follow him on YouTube at Ukuleles Are Stupid or on Instagram at Chadwick Enterprises. You can follow me on Instagram at Uncle Dig.